A glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
If you had, well, Iran-Contra leads to marital bliss, I would go ahead and buy a Powerball ticket because honest to goodness, that has never been on my bingo card. And if you've guessed that, then also could you tell me where all of my missing forks and spoons are? Because I don't know where they go, but they go somewhere in my house. Oliver North and his former secretary, Fawn Hall, reportedly married in secret last month, 40 years after their leading roles in the infamous Iran-Contra affair. A copy of the couple's marriage license was obtained by journalist Michael Iskoff and shows North 81 and Hall 65 were married in Arlington County, Virginia on August 27th. It was a secret marriage, a friend of the newlywed told Iskoff. Is it secret if you tell a journalist that it's a secret? I mean, I don't pretend. I feel like George Carlin half the time. Can we all agree on the language that we agreed on? This is English. Can we all agree that definitions matter? Now, North is a retired Marine Corps lieutenant colonel and a member of the former President Ronald Reagan's National Security Council, when in the late 1980s he was accused of facilitating illegal weapons sales to Iran. Now, the scheme was aimed at encouraging Iran-backed militants in Lebanon to release American hostages, while proceeds from the arms sale were diverted to support Contra rebels in Nicaragua, which is kind of prohibited under the Boland Amendment. Hall, North's glamorous secretary, adds, the Security Council was granted immunity by prosecutors investigating the case, as she revealed that she had destroyed or altered or hidden evidence implicating North and others in illegal activity. I mean, yeah, somehow I wouldn't think that, testifying against your romantic partner would lead to marriage, but I'd need about 40 years to get over the whole, bitterness thing. North was convicted of 3 felony charges related to the Iran-Contra scandal in 1989, although his convictions were overturned on an appeal in 1991, and the case against him was dropped after it was determined that prosecutors had used testimony he provided to Congress under immunity in that case. Now, after the scandal, Hall worked as a model in Hollywood, California, where she married Danny Sugarman, manager of the rock band The Doors, in 1993. Hall was married to Sugarman until his death in 2005. Meanwhile, North went on to found the Freedom Alliance, a nonprofit for wounded veterans, author several books, and host War Stories with Oliver North on Fox News from 2001 to 2016. He also served as the president of the NRA in 2018. So there you go, Iran-Contra to marital bliss. Who knew? Who'd have guessed? And interesting. Also, check that, Revelations book. Make sure we aren't there. Well, I have no idea. This headline just made me click on it. Dwayne Johnson says that his weight loss is for a new acting role where he plays a 70-year-old man whose best friend is a chicken. I either have not had the gummies required to understand this headline, or I am too sober to understand this headline. Either way, I am sober and I don't understand this headline. Having earned raves for bulking up to play the wrestler Mark Kerr in his MMA fighting prime for the Smashing Machine, Dwayne Johnson is about to undertake another radical transformation. He currently is shedding pounds to portray a whimsical, eccentric 70-something-year-old called Chicken Man in Lizard Music. This is not a fever dream. This is reality. The film, which will reunite Johnson with Smashing Machine director Benny Safdie, is an acting challenge that The Rock jumped to play at. Benny pitched this to me after, Johnson said during a career retrospective talk at the Toronto Film Festival on Monday, where Smashing Machine will screen. After about 45 minutes, this pitch ended, and I said, "I'm your chicken man." Now, Johnson has shed more than 30 pounds of muscle that he packed on as car and still looked like he could bench press a Humvee. "I still have a long way to go," he acknowledged. "I was so excited to get a chance to hopefully transform again, like I was able to do in Smashing Machine. It means eating less chicken." Now, the film is an adaptation of a Daniel Pinkwater novel and tells the story of a septuagenarian whose best friend is a 70-year-old chicken. Okie dokie. There you go. So he's eating less chicken so he can befriend a chicken while pretending to be an old man whose best friend is an old chicken. Makes perfect sense. Asks no questions. If you smell burnt toast, uh, be careful. Well, it's a bold strategy, y'all. But this OnlyFans actress, model, whatever you call an OnlyFans practitioner, is offering 100K to anyone who can find her a husband. I'm willing to do the work. I'm a very weird person. Cupid just got a serious upgrade and a possible paycheck. "I'll pay you 10 or 100K to get me married or 300K to arrange an impregnation deal." I fear for my boys. What the hell is wrong with women anymore or people? So there you go. "If you can recommend me a guy and I end up marrying him, I'll pay you 100K," wrote OnlyFans star Alia on her Substack last month, sending the internet into a frenzy. At 33 and living in the Bay Area, she admitted she is no ordinary dater. "I'm a very weird person. It hasn't been hard to find people to date or men willing to marry me, but people I want to marry is a vanishingly small group." Now, her checklist for Mr. Right is unconventional, so take down your get your pen out because we all need, look, I got 6 kids to put through college. I'm gonna be on the lookout. I go to Walmart often. I can figure this out. All right. "I'd like a man who's fully committed to polyamory, with space for a primary partner, and with ominous sexuality." Ominous or omnious? I don't even know what that means, but I don't think that's a good idea. "Who's similarly wealthy enough to me in tier that I don't have to financially support him, who wants kids and is fully self-accepting." You want a dog. A dog will love you no matter what. Like if you're a good partner, a bad partner, a good wife, a crap wife, a dog will love you if you treat it nice. You want a dog or a beanie baby. Try a Hatchimal or one of those Tamagotchis before you try marriage, sweetie. In plain English, he is a rare, rich-ish, kinky, and ready for commitment. Bonus points for brains, politics, age, and BMI. But she's already confessed that she's pushing her luck. She's also picky about status. Here's how the bounty works. You recommend a candidate, and she hasn't already considered. You make sure you're first. Fill out her Date Me survey. Mess around with the rules or lie on the survey, that's an automatic breakup. She doesn't mess around when money and romance mix. 100,000 isn't trivial for me, net worth wise, but I imagine I'm already happily married in the future and you ask me, would you have paid 100,000 to meet your husband? I imagine I would say yes without hesitation. And if 100,000 isn't enough, she's adding, more to the prospective pot. Or you can find someone to pay me $1 million post-tax to impregnate me and raise his child, sole custody, single mother. The deal goes through. I pay you 300K. Oh, sweetheart, I'm gonna pray for you. But once, that wall hits and you start finding wrinkles and gray hair, you're gonna realize that all of those things that you really think are important, like being tall, aren't as important as someone who will hold you when everything else starts to fade, who still thinks you look pretty when you've had a rough day or you're having a bad pain day, still tries to, hey, I mean, Mr. Mo does try to soap molder on bad pain days. It doesn't always work out for him, but he still makes the effort. And that's worth more than 100K, but good luck on your LinkedIn marriage. Ugh. Also, are you still going to be working as a OnlyFans proprietor when you're having this rando kid? And finally, in final form, Jesus. Jesus. And the pastor that says he's coming back this month. Oh, wait, we've got one more after Jesus, which is not something I thought I would say regularly on a regular basis. But a pastor says that a vision told him that Jesus will return to earth this month. I wouldn't say rack up your credit card, but, forewarned is forearmed. One pastor's viral vision has believers walking on water in anticipation. A South African pastor recently claimed that Jesus would be returning on September 23rd, with the Feast of Trumpets ringing in Rapture and Judgment Day. Now, in the viral video on YouTube, Pastor Joshua Mahala claims that he saw Jesus in a divine vision returning to earth during this year's Rosh Hashanah, a date that some Christians are already linking to the prophecy. The rapture is upon us, whether you're ready or not, he said in a sit-down interview with Chesnotzi TV. I saw Jesus sitting on his throne, and I could hear him very loudly saying, I am coming soon, he said to me on the 23rd or 24th of September 2025. So Jesus has a 2-day window. Just throwing that out there. Things happen even in Jesus's life. Chaos. Beneath the YouTube video, many commenters also seem convinced that the pastor was onto something. My 10-year-old daughter dreamt of the rapture recently, one user wrote, while another added, wow, I can read people and Joshua is 100% telling the truth. As your unlicensed spiritual guru and your Hot Mess Express, spiritual advisor who honestly tells you not to trust any of my advice, I'm going to say, take all of this with a grain of salt. And again, don't run up, payday loans. So there you go. Just, forewarned is forearmed. The 23rd or 24th, rapture. That being said, I would continue paying bills and not stopping paying taxes. But, that's just my advice. Well, that's a headline I never thought I'd read out loud, but okie dokie. An 80-year-old woman was scammed online by a fake astronaut who claimed to be stuck in space. Yes. Yes. That is actually a headline in a story. And under all the humor, it is repulsive that people do prey on the elderly, on the people that are maybe losing touch with reality to steal money from them. An 80-year-old Japanese woman ended up spending about 1 million yen or $6,700 online to a scammer who was posing as an astronaut stuck in space in need of money to buy oxygen. Such a douche move. Also hilariously funny, but such a douche move. Hailing from Japan's northern Hokkaido island, the hapless octogenarian reportedly met the scammer on social media in July. Now, the scammer claimed to be a male astronaut on a mission in outer space, and the woman apparently believed him. After earning the trust of the victim, the scammer told them that they were in space on a spaceship right now, but they were under attack and needed oxygen. Now, obviously, the only way that the 80-year-old woman could send money to a bank account, or the only way that the money could be sent was to a bank account, so that the astronaut could buy more oxygen and survive the space battle. Local media outlet Hokkaido Broadcasting reported that the elderly woman lives alone and started to develop feelings for the fake astronaut as their conversations progressed. So when they asked her for money, she was more than willing to help despite the absurdity of the claims. She was instructed to deposit money using a prepaid system at 5 different stores between July and August, and she only told her family about it when she started realizing that something might be off in his story. After discussing it with family, the woman reported the bizarre case to the police, and she was told that this is a common type of online romance scam and that getting her money back was virtually impossible. Police decided to make the woman's case public as a warning to other vulnerable people who might be targeted by scammers at some point. If a person you met on social media ever demands cash from you, please be suspicious of the possibility of a scam and report it to police, officials said. As strange as it sounds, this type of astronaut scam is not unheard of in Japan. Back in 2022, and we wrote about another elderly woman who paid $30,000 to a scammer posing as an astronaut stuck in space so he could return home to Earth. Again, this is a douchey trash bag move. Don't do this. The premise is hilarious, but the reality is just cruel and mean. That being said, if it wasn't an older person and it was just an idiot, I don't know how I'd feel about that. So I'm not sure where my goodness level is. I'm guessing somewhere on Stitch, in the middle of the Lilo and Stitch movie. So my goodness is trying to show out, but my evilness outranks it sometimes. Well, we've got a full lineup in our Lord Chippy, calling out naming monsters, naming names. CrimeCon is bringing the biggest names out, which shouldn't be a big thing, but actually is we're getting all the heavy hitters and the big names out. So let's get into Lord Chippy.